Look how good this looks. I'm making like a vegan burrito filling. Ooh, sorry. Let me disturb you. Hello, welcome to Ferga Cooks Tofu and Beans and talks about her love life. So here's the thing. So my doctor says that people who have chronic illnesses when they're young and who take it on and who are responsible about it or whatever tend to be both mature and immature depending on the topic. So in some ways we develop really fast and in other ways we don't develop at all because we don't have the opportunity. And I think romance and dating is an area in which this is very true for me. I spent a lot of when my friends were freaking out about relationships and relationship drama, I was busy with weightier topics. I was trying to solve my health problems and I was trying to stay alive. And at the time my feeling was that I had this sort of perspective that they didn't have because they thought that, friendship drama and relationship drama were these enormous life or death situations that they had to just talk about and think about all the time. And I just thought they were essentially trivial in comparison with actual life or death situations pertaining to physical health. On the topic of friendship drama, I realized that my friends, what they were learning was conflict and conflict resolution and emotional processing and boundary setting. And I was just being like, lol, they're so into drama. And now I am terrible at conflict and avoid it at all costs. But that's a topic for another video. Let's not go there. But the other thing, to say that relationships, romantic relationships, weren't a priority for me is the understatement of the century. I didn't care at all. Up until maybe a month ago, I thought about romance exactly 1% of the time. I just didn't care at all. And I think because I'm gay, people think, if I was straight and was uninterested, people would just think I was uninterested. But when you're gay, people are like, well, you clearly experience enough attraction to have worked out that you were gay. And I have had relationships. I am obviously self-aware enough and familiar enough with my own romantic desires or whatever to know that I'm a lesbian, so that requires some self-awareness. Beyond that, zilch. I just didn't care. When I was thinking about my illness all the time, every day, constantly, my whole raison d'etre was creating less stuff for myself to do and simplifying my life and making it neater and less exhausting and making myself less beholden to other people to a certain extent, because the more things I signed up for and would eventually have to cancel on, the harder my life was because there was just so much I couldn't do. So being in a relationship, just whenever I kind of half did it, I just didn't have the physical capacity to always be thinking about another person because I just couldn't get out of bed. And the idea of being in a relationship made me feel physically just exhausted, just the thought of it. I was just like, can you imagine? Even now, if I'm totally honest, I don't really care that much. And part of me feels like, well, I finally have some energy, I might as well hog it all for myself and all the stuff that I wanted to be doing and couldn't. However, I'm suddenly noticing girls. Is girls an offensive term to use at this point in my life? Yeah, so that's weird. Don't know what to do with that. This is going to take time and energy out of my life, I can already tell. Obviously, we all know that there's been some romancing because I put up a vlog about it. But that was earlier this summer and she lives in America, so that doesn't count. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm a real mess. I'm being real messy on the internet right now. This is maybe not the most responsible thing I've ever done. Okay, so turning on the thing now, so you're not going to hear anything I say, which is probably for the best. So last night I went to my friend's gig. She was playing and she was a total rock star. It was amazing. At said gig, a friend of a friend of a friend was there to see her, and we ended up dancing together for the entire thing, and then she kind of walked me home. That seems gay, right? Anyway, I don't know, maybe it's nothing. Probably nothing. But yeah, I definitely have a crush on her. So I don't know what that's about. Very rude that my brain has decided to do this. I'm trying to write a book, I don't have the time to have a crush on some gal. It was good though, we had a good time. So that was lovely. How does one cook? Who knows? Also, I have a date on Friday. So far, our rapport consists entirely of us sending each other pictures of our like tofu scramble in the morning. But I think that bodes well for a relationship. The fact that she's a tofu fan bodes well, I think, for us. I'm a useless lesbian. This is water, by the way. Also, I inconveniently I'm going to the climate strike before my date, even though I probably don't have enough energy to do both because of my health still being a bit of an issue. As much as I do care about the success of this first date, I mostly care about the success of the climate movement, because what's the point in finding a mother for my children, another mother for my children, if there's no earth for them to be on, you know? I reinstated my Pinterest recently because I'm just still in the process of decorating my flat, but I was looking at, you know, apartment inspiration or whatever. Look how good this looks. I'm making like a vegan burrito filling. Ooh, sorry. Didn't maybe disturb you. I was on Pinterest and I sort of fell into a hole of like Pinterest carpe diem posts about how you have to seize the day and you only have one life and nothing matters, so why not just tell the girl you like her and all this stuff. So I feel very like hype and excited and like empowered and like confident in all of life, in all of life's aspects. The big question being like, what do I want though? I don't know. You know, I just gross. I think I'd love, this is the fact that I'm saying this is absolutely ridiculous. Ideally, like one of my dreams would be to be in a relationship with someone who lives in a different county. So like maybe if I was in a relationship with someone who like lived in Galway half the time, like who went to like a Galway university or like worked in Galway, but like also spent some of the time in Dublin. So like when she spent a week in Dublin or a weekend in Dublin, we could hang out all the time and it would be lovely. But then she could like go back to Galway and we could like text and stuff, but I could just like have my life and I wouldn't get sick. See, is this just me being terrified of getting sick again? Or continuing to be sick, or whatever the hell is going on here? I don't know what. Ugh. This is now just me venting all of my stress. But part of this is like, I don't really know how to talk about my sickness anymore, because I'm talking like I'm well now, and that's objectively not true. Like I'm not a healthy person. I'm still fundamentally disabled and sick, but I'm so much better than I was that to me this feels really healthy. But I still can't really do that much. That is really hard to get my head around because I don't want to think of myself as sick anymore. Like I very much decided that it's healthier for me and it makes me happier and it makes my physical health better if I just don't think of myself as a sick person. But that also brings me into danger because sometimes I think I can do more than I can, and I'm just kind of playing it by ear and just thinking of myself. The trick is really that I've arranged a schedule that I can handle, so I don't have to think about it all the time because I just kind of go along. I have a real fear of inviting someone into my life who could disrupt. This is getting very real. I have a real fear from a health point of view of inviting someone into my life who will disrupt my schedule, who will turn the whole thing upside down, and could lead me being sick again. And like this is really quite telling. Kind of briefly dated a couple of people over the last couple of years. And a lot of them were not from Ireland, who were here for a short period of time, studying or whatever. I would go on 1 or 2 dates with them and I would like them a lot. And then I would think, in a year, she won't be here. She'll go back to wherever the fuck she's from or wherever else they're gonna go. And I will still be in this body. My body is gonna be with me longer than this girl is. And if I put her and seeing her above my recovery, she's gonna leave and I'm still gonna be sick, versus I could just not go see her anymore and not get really swept up in this and focus on my health, and then when she goes I'll have made progress instead of having to start from the beginning. That's really sad though. That's a really sad way to live your life, to not do fun things because you know when they're over your body might be sick, and like that's pretty sad. But it's really hard, I think, after years and years and years of thinking about stuff that way, because I got really, really good at putting my health first, and that's great. Funnily enough, now at this point, the healthiest thing for me to do is to try to get more immature in the ways that I have been mature, and get more mature in the ways that I have been immature. So get more immature about being responsible in regards to health, and be more immature about what I eat and what I do, and like do more reckless, stupid stuff. I was talking to my friend, she was over the other day, and she was talking about when she was in school, she uses Mitch class and go to the seafront. And we weren't friends in school, but we did go to the same school, we were in the same year. And the entire 6 years I was in school, I never once skipped school to go to the beach, even though my school was near the beach, and I didn't even really think about the fact that my school was near the beach. Like, it never occurred to me, or I was never in school, like it never crossed my mind that I could leave class and go to the beach and that I was near by. I was thinking about my health and I was thinking about school, and I knew that because of my health problems it was really hard for me to get into school, and I missed a lot of it anyway. So whenever I was there, I was really, really applying myself and really trying to get the most out of it. And like, school is good and education is good, and like, don't skip school, kids, or whatever. But I often don't think about the fact that there's a maturity to taking life seriously, and there's a maturity to doing what you're supposed to do and to being responsible. But in a kind of a weird way, there's an immaturity to that too, because there's an immaturity to not realizing that you're beside the sea when you're beside the sea. I really liked being in school, apart from the whole illness thing. I wouldn't really change it. I'm proud of how hard I worked despite how sick I was, but I just don't really, I don't know. I don't want the fact that I'm working so hard to get to live a life despite being sick make me live that life less and in a boring way. Like, wouldn't it be a shame if I was thinking so much about staying alive or whatever that I forgot to live? If you're not going to go on bad dates, and if you're not going to skip class and go to the seaside and make all the same mistakes that all the other young people make, and go through all the motions and experience the whole silliness of it all, then what's the point of all of that work you're doing so that you can do those things? Like, what's the point in all of the drugs and the smoothies and the resting and the pacing and the counting? Like, isn't that what I'm doing that for? Or what I did that for? I spent so much of my childhood and my teenage years being told how mature I was and how mature I seem, and I'm still told that I seem much older than I am. And I think there's nothing more mature than acting your age. I think it takes a great wisdom to accept the stage of life that you're in, and to accept that you're not an exception to the full process arc of growing up. And like, you can't skip things. Sometimes you're told you're mature, so you think you can just skip right past all of the weird awkwardness of growing up. You can just not get angry at people. You can just not have silly friend fights. You can just not have anxieties and crushes and silly dating worries. You can just skip all that silly stuff and get straight to the bit where you're wise and you have perspective and you have all this, you know, and you can act wise and you can seem wise, but the fact is that actually wisdom only comes from experience, and you can't be mature unless you have gone through the full arc of all the immaturities that you necessarily have to go through. And people who resist that, and people who refuse to be their own age and to enjoy it and to revel in the stage of life that they're in and that they're meant to be doing, they are the most immature people of all. This has been weird. I hope you got something out of this. I can't imagine what. This is just a reminder that it might be a nice week to agree to going on a date with someone you barely know, or skipping class to see the sea, because if not now, when? Anyway, I'm just gonna go eat some dinner, watch Manhattan Murder Mystery and fall asleep.